Good evening. Welcome to the April 4th, 2019 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll second that.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Hahn.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
I was not here. I will abstain, although I did read the meetings.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. A few things before we get started. Just wanted to ask if all of you who are here tonight could do us a couple of favors. The first thing is, if you have your cell phones on you, if you can silence them or turn them off because they interfere with our recording equipment. In addition, if you're inclined to speak to one another, if you can go in the hallway to speak rather than speaking in the auditorium, we would greatly appreciate it because that also interferes with our recording equipment. And lastly, I have to read the emergency procedures should there be an emergency tonight. Prior to the start of this meeting, I would like to inform everybody of our emergency procedures and exit routes. In case of emergency evacuation, please exit through the rear doors of this room to one of the staircases across the hall and continue downstairs and out through the main entrance. Please do not attempt to use the elevators during an emergency evacuation. In case of a medical emergency, the automated external defibrillator and first aid kit are both located in the hallway on this floor opposite the elevator. Restrooms are located across the hall. And with that, we will get started with the agenda.
Okay, there are some changes to the agenda. Item 8, 9, and 10, which is J. Ten's property, is going to be held over to 5-2. I'll move that.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Tuthill.
Aye.
Mr. Hahn.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Item 11 on the agenda, I'll move that we hold that over to June 20th. Second.
Mr. Tuthill.
Aye.
Mr. Hahn.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
And then on the decision calendar, Bayview 4 LP, George and Christine Bertero, Ferritin Azdemir, and Millard C. Jane III and Rebecca J. Wiseman. I'll move that those 5 decisions be held off to our next meeting, which is April 18th.
And 2 of those Bayview 4 LLP, there are actually 2 separate decisions on,
Yes.
on that. Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, back to the beginning of the agenda. Item 1 on the agenda is Nancy T. Trunzo, 7 Norbury Road in Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-297-3-4. Applicant requested determination that the subject parcel, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-297-3-4, is held in single and separate ownership from the adjacent parcel identified as Suffolk County Tax Map 900-297-3-3, and thus entitled to relief pursuant to 330-115D and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction. That's going to be fine. Totally fine. Thank you.
Cornelius.
That's Cornelius.
Thank you, sir.
Cornelius.
Thank you.
Cornelius.
Thank you. Cornelius.
Good evening.
Good evening.
For the applicant, Robert Connolly, 132 North Main Street, East Hampton, New York, 11937. As the notice of public hearing indicates, we're here this evening seeking determination from this board that 7 Norbury Road is held in single and separate ownership from 5 Norbury Road, the adjacent property to the north. Just for background information, 7 Norbury Road is Lot 5 on the subdivision map of Carl Shelton Park, filed in September of 1948, and 5 Norbury Road is lot number 4 on that same map. Ms. Trunzo, the applicant's mother and stepfather, purchased 5 Norbury Road in 1951 and 7 Norbury Road in 1953. Ms. Trunzo's stepfather operated a fish hatchery business, and he and some friends hoped to use 7 Norbury for that purpose. In 1961, he applied for variances from this board, which were granted. However, those variances were challenged in Supreme Court, and that determination of this board was annulled. So his hopes and dreams of using 7 Norbury Road for his fish hatchery business went by the wayside. Sometime after that, the applicant's mother and the stepfather divorced. Her mother was awarded both properties in the divorce settlement. And when Ms. Trunzo's mother passed away, 5 Norbury Court was left to Ms. Trunzo's brother, and she inherited 7 Norbury Road. This board has long held that absent a clear intent to merge 2 contiguous properties that are non-conforming in size and in common ownership do not merge. The board has defined clear intent as a single tax bill, a single Suffolk County tax map number, and structures or dwellings straddling the shared property line such that one lot materially enhances the value of the other. Here, 7 Norbury has been assigned a separate and distinct tax map number from that of 5 Norbury Road. Each parcel is taxed separately. I've provided copies of the tax bills for each property. Each parcel maintains a separate address from the other, and neither parcel is being used in conjunction with the other. The survey shows no shared structures with the exception of a small section of the fence that belongs to 5 Norbury. However, that fence, since the survey has been completed, has been moved and relocated wholly onto 5 Norbury Road. And I would submit that the lots do not materially enhance the utility of the other, and they do not share access.
Mortgage on either piece at any time?
There's mortgage on I believe, on 5 Norbury, but not on 7.
Okay, well, the reason Keith is asking that question is if you can provide us a copy with that mortgage, that will support the case.
Single and separate
Yeah.
Yeah,
request.
I'll see if I can get a copy from the neighboring property owner.
okay, absolutely.
Have you heard from any of the neighbors?
No, I have not. I've been in contact with the attorney for the owner of 5 Norbury, and they have no objection to this application.
Well, it sounds to me like what you've outlined is the test that we have to use in terms of considering these types of applications. Looking at the aerial, looking at the survey, clearly Lot 4 is vacant land. Even if a fence goes over it slightly, it's vacant land, and it's not being used for the benefit of the improved lot. And the separate deed, separate tax map members, separate, pretty much history of the 2 parcels all support that. Okay. Yeah, any other questions from members of the board? Is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard this evening in connection with the application of Trunzo? This is for 7 Norbury Road in Hampton Bays. If not, Cornelius.
It seems to me pretty clearly it's single and separate. So I'm going to put it on for decision for, close the hearing for all purposes, close the application for all purposes with a decision on April 18th.
Second.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Hahn. Aye. Mr. Tudhill.
Did we want to leave it open for written submissions in case?
Oh, yes.
The mortgage.
he could find us
Mortgage.
some
We'll give you an opportunity.
proof
Okay.
of
I'll see if I
mortgage?
can, yeah.
If you can locate it. Okay,
Search
not a
and lien
requirement.
search, reputable title company, they'll come up with it.
all right.
It's not a requirement, but we'll leave it open for written submissions should you choose to.
Sure.
Okay, so.
I'll say
that would
aye
be
with the
an
written-
amended motion.
Amended motion.
Right, and I'll say aye to the amended motion.
Okay, all right. Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Hahn. Aye. Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you.
Right. No sign.
You too.
Okay, item 2 on the agenda is 45 Dune Road LLC, 45 Dune Road in Bridgehampton, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-134-3-12. Applicant requests relief from Town Code 330-46.2 B1 coastal erosion, management permit required, effect on zoning regulations. a proposed crest of dune setback of 118.5 feet, where 125 feet is required for a proposed swimming pool, and a proposed crest of dune setback of 121 feet, where 125 feet is required for the proposed deck on a non-conforming lot, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction. Pass that to Michael.
Good evening for the applicant, John Bennett, and Lori Beppu from Blaise McCoy Architecture is here with us. I'm not sure that Lori will have to say anything, but I thought it would be important.
Swear her in.
We'll swear you in.
Swear her in.
You can state your name and address, please.
Lori Beppu, 120 Breeze Lane, Southampton, New York.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Lori, could you just spell your last name for me? B-E-P-P-U.
Give her a chance, John, if she needs it, all right?
Okay. I was just trying to make it easy.
I hear you.
So, we are here because the dune crest changed as a result of a approved dune restoration plan. The applicant sought relief, pyramid relief, from the board back in 2011, and the board granted all the relief. So we're not asking, that variance stays. And we're not, you don't have to deal with that because it's, runs with the land, and we're not asking you for any modification, no modification needed. But when the dune nourishment project was finalized, actually it turns out the crest of the dune, as a result of the rebuilt dune, migrated a wee bit, 6.5 feet closer to the road. So I actually tried to get the building department to grant it without coming here because the improvements haven't changed. They haven't come. They're not changed at all. And I think the best way to see that is we had InterScience using the surveys, the proposed survey, the survey for this variance and the variance back in 2011. What we did is we had them. Hopefully everyone has this because this is the most helpful thing. I just had them show the improvements that were proposed and which we granted relief for back in 2011, the pyramid relief. I had them show those as well as the proposed location of the location that's before you now, and there's no change whatsoever. So the only change is the fact that, and InterScience has highlighted that in blue, back in 2011, the dune crest was 125.9 to the improvements and 125.3 to the improvements. And now, as a result of a dune nourishment program, I guess if they would have called a lawyer out to the field while they were doing this, somebody would have said, make sure you leave the dune crest exactly where it is when you rebuild the dune, but that didn't happen. So now at one point to the deck, it's 121.1 from the new dune crest and 118.5 to the other dune crest. Everything's behind the coastal erosion hazard line, which is good. So I think it's a fairly straightforward request, minimal, de minimis, and again, only as a result of a dune crest change from a rebuilt dune. Absolutely no change to the improvements that you approved back in 2011.
Whose project was it?
Excuse me?
Whose project?
Whose project was it?
Yeah,
The owner just had it in 2011.
No, I'm saying who did the restoration?
Who did the
The
restoration?
Army Corps or
No, I think it was,
First Coastal,
I think First Coastal did it, yeah.
should build them?
Yeah, I mean, the dune crest was signed off on, it's fine, rebuild, it was a good project,
Yeah.
Probably what they're not thinking about migrating dune crests when they're rebuilding a dune. So
Yeah.
that's where it is.
And for what it's worth, we actually was in our submittals, we did get a note from Kyle Collins saying he has no comments on the referral.
Okay.
So he's not concerned about it.
I think just the building
Yeah.
department was a little bit uncomfortable because you do have a different dune crest line. And so probably best, I guess it probably is best to make sure that
When they're uncomfortable, they send us everything.
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah, they do.
But the amount of relief we're talking about is minimal, and it's what was already approved. In effect, it's just that, like you described, the measurement change.
The measurement change.
Yeah.
No, we're not trying to shoehorn ourselves into a larger house or deck or pool or anything. And that's why I thought the most helpful thing was this InterScience drawing, which shows what was approved back in 2011 and what we're asking for now. No change whatsoever. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Any other questions, members of the board? Is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard this evening in connection with the application of 45 Dune Road LLC, which is 45 Dune Road in Bridgehampton? If not, Mike.
We'll close the public hearing for all purposes, and we'll have a decision for you on April 18th.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night. Have a good night. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Hahn. Aye. Ms. Obsessa.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Moving on to item
Oh, yeah.
3 on the agenda.
Planning board meeting.
Sunday.
You need more time?
Yep.
So I,
Ray Monteverde, 9 Jackson Avenue in East Quogue, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-341-1-75. Applicant requests the following relief for a proposed lot line modification. 1, for lot number 75, 330-11 residential districts table of dimension regulations for a lot area of 2,719 square feet, where 20,000 square feet is required, and an accessory side yard setback of 3 feet, where 10 feet is required for the frame shed. And 2, for lot number 76, 330-11, for a lot area of 2,344 square feet, where 20,000 square feet is required, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Evening.
Good evening.
So I have to swear you in unless you're an attorney. Okay, if you can state your name and address.
My name is Dave Rodican. I'm with Point East Real Property Services, 33 Montauk Highway in Quogue.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can tell us about the application.
The application was, we have a very small parcel of land that was, took this configuration well before any of us were in diapers. Don't know how this happened. It's probably the smallest property maybe in the town of Southampton. We have submitted subdivision plans to Suffolk County Health and have full approval, or lot line modification otherwise. We have also presented planning board with a pre-application back in May 2017. The pre-application was approved. I'm not sure that you have a file of the report. I can hand that to you at some point.
excuse me, Katie just showed me a letter from the planning board saying they need more time.
Okay, I
Just
am,
for the referral report.
pardon?
For the referral report. But we'll take a copy of your pre-app approval.
Okay, I'm profoundly deaf, so I'm not picking any of you up right now.
Yep.
Can you tell me what?
I can tell you. So the planning board just needs additional time to submit their referral report, so we're going to have to leave the public hearing open for written submissions just to get that referral report
Okay.
from the planning board. Other than that, what was?
But we will take a copy if he has the pre-app.
If you have the pre-application report from them, we'll take a copy of it.
I do.
Okay, you can give it to our attorney?
Thanks.
At some point in time, the pre-application report was going to expire, so we wrote a letter to the planning board, and they extended it for 1 year. That extension expires August 24th of this year, 2019. It took us a while to get before the Zoning Board of Appeals with our application. These parcels were left in an estate, and there were some legal issues with the estate and not with the property itself. I say all that to say this, that we did request for that extension. It was granted. I have something that I can give the attorney stating that. With regards to their report, there was no other recommendations from any of the other agencies. The only recommendation was from the planning board itself that says, go to the ZBA and get your relief for undersized lots. That's pretty much where we stand. We've got pre-application approval, we've got Suffolk County Health approval. We're looking for the blessing of the ZBA on this lot line modification. If you take a look at the property, it only makes sense. And again, I do not know the history of how this was divided or anything like that, but we do have single and separate, certified single and separate, that these have been in existence from well before the 40s, so.
Right.
That's it. If you have any questions, I'll
Yeah.
try to take them.
So on first glance, in looking at the square footage of the lots and what's proposed, it appears to be a lot of relief in square footage, at least compared to what zoning would require, because these are tiny lots. But in reality, this is only a lot line modification for two lots that already exist. They may be really small, and we may not like how small they are, but all we're talking about doing is adjusting a lot line. And for all intents and purposes, it's still going to be two tiny lots with the lot line being adjusted somewhat. So that's kind of what it is, but it is very unusual for us to have an application where we see 20,000 square feet to, 2344 and 2719. That's unusual for us. But we understand that's what, at least I understand, I'll speak for myself only, that this is the reality, which is these lots have existed for a very long time, and they're tiny.
They are very tiny.
Yeah.
Like I say, I don't know the history, how they got that way, or what the, and there's been a deal over a case of beer, I don't know, but that's the reality of it, they're small.
Yeah.
It just makes sense to give a little bit more property to the smaller lot. Given its configuration, they can now put a picnic table in their backyard. This would not allow it.
Right. And this, what's being proposed, although we'll see, there may be neighbors here, I don't know, but what's being proposed, I can't see how it can have a negative impact on the neighbors. I really can't see that, but we'll see. We're here to listen, so.
And I'd just like to say this, that there are no plans to improve these or to make these units bigger. You probably won't see us back here for any other kind of relief other than this modification.
Okay. Any other questions from members of the board? Is there?
Just like to comment that I came and visited the.
I will.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah.
I visited the 75 and 76.
Yeah.
I have no problem. It will entitle 76 to have a backyard, which it doesn't have right now.
Yeah.
And we'll make an improvement to that without any trouble for anybody.
Okay, so basically, Helen indicated that she went to the property and she thinks that this application is only beneficial, and actually will make sense in terms of, I think, what the needs are of the property owners under the circumstances. Okay. Is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard this evening in connection with the application of Monteverdi, which is for 9 Jackson Avenue in East Quogue? If not, Helen.
Oh, well, I guess we'll have to keep it open to get our information
Yep.
from the planning department.
Yep.
And Candace, do you think it'll be ready by 4/18?
It should be, the next meeting is April 11th.
So,
It should be ready.
okay, in that case, there'll be a decision ready for you on 4/18. Can you tell them that?
I will.
So you're going to close it with leaving it open for
I'm
written
leaving it
submission?
open for written submission.
Second.
Okay, so we're closing the public hearing tonight. We're leaving it open for written submissions just for the planning board referral report, which I mentioned before, that we have to have from the planning board, which we should have because they're meeting on April 11th. So we should have before our next meeting, and we'll have a decision on the 18th, so.
Okay, appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Who was the second? Okay. Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Hahn.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
Okay.
Okay, item 4.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Item 4 on the agenda is Jeffrey Sadowski, 190 North Sea Mecox Road, North Sea, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-112-2-31. Applicant requests relief from Town Code 330-84D, pyramid height, for a proposed encroachment in the amount of 1,900 cubic feet, 783 cubic feet existing, and 1,117 cubic feet proposed, for a proposed dormer addition to the existing garage. Excuse me. In addition, applicant requests relief from Town Code 330-77D, placement of accessory buildings, structures, and uses in residence districts for a rear yard coverage of 29.4%, where a maximum of 20% is permitted, for a proposed second-story deck and exterior stairs to legalize the location of an in-ground swimming pool on a non-conforming lot and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Good evening.
Good evening.
That's Jason.
Okay.
Robert
Takes
Fischetti.
one.
Yep,
This is my client, Jeff Sadowski.
Yes, I'll let you introduce yourself, and then well, actually, why don't I just swear you in? If you can state your name and address.
Jeffrey Sadowski, 190 North Sea Mecox Road, Southampton.
Okay, and do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
And I am Mr. Sadowski's attorney, Robert Fischetti, Fernan Fischetti, 220 Hampton Road, Southampton.
Could you not mutter?
Sorry?
Could you not mutter?
Oh, sorry. So I handed out an aerial photo just so you can have a general idea of where this property is. It is not far from the intersection between North Sea Mecox Road and Majors Path. It's a 16,794 square foot street front lot. It's in the R20 zone, and it's non-conforming, but we did submit a single and separate abstract back to 1965. At that time, it was still C residential, which is 15,000, so we're good as far as non-conforming status. We are asking for relief for pyramid and for rear yard lot coverage. So basically, the story with this was Mr. Sadowski had, and I submitted a copy with my application, a permit to build the pool. And the pool was so much in the rear yard so as to maximize the 20% lot coverage at that time. When the permit was issued, and I apologize, I didn't make a copy of this, but it was included with the application. There was some notes that were made by the building inspector that sort of threw the pool guy, I guess, for a little bit of confusion. It says 10-foot minimum here. The out-of-town pool guy, he thought he could slide the pool, so he ended up sliding it further into the rear yard, creating one problem. So we didn't actually. This is all the building.
Without my knowledge.
Yeah, it's pretty recent. I mean, the permit's still open. This really just came to light when we were preparing for the application for the garage. So obviously we had to add that on as part of our relief, which was sort of unexpected, and it certainly weren't aware of it when when Mr. Sadowski started planning for the rear deck on the garage.
Okay.
But so fast forward to the garage. The garage is existing. It has a CO. We're not proposing any change to the footprint or anything like that, but Mr. Sadowski is looking to improve the second floor for finished space for a gym for himself and his wife. And in order to do that, he would like the dormer to do some dormers. But in order to make that symmetrical, he needs to go out on the on the side on the west side near the neighbor. Now it's a pre-existing garage, so the setbacks are only 8.3 at its closest and 11.5, so of course we run into some pyramid issues. It's 1,900 cubic feet of relief, but 783 cubic feet of that are already pre-existing just based on the structure that's there already. So then, in addition to that, and as part of the entry to get to the second floor, was proposed a set of stairs which are on the interior of the lot, and then a second-story deck at the back of the garage. And
So this pool should have been sent to us because it would have needed, because, well, what was
original-
first, the garage or the pool?
The pool. And
Okay.
the pool has a building permit and everything, and the pool was put in, but at the last minute, the pool
Okay.
contractor slid it further back, thinking he was getting it away from the house a little and doing a favor.
And if
He
you look
wasn't-
at the aerial, to all the neighbors, it's, where its placement is now, it's better
Right.
for everybody. But he didn't want to
Yeah.
cut into my driveway, and he was
Okay.
pushing it on me.
Well, I'm just trying to understand the history of this,
So, yeah,
that's
so,
all.
yeah, the pool
So
came
the pool
first.
came
It's got-
first,
it's got a
and the
building
garage, then the
permit.
garage is what came second.
Well, the garage is the actual garage building is there. The garage,
I see.
yeah, the existing, the actual building is there.
You're just
This is
expanding it.
This is just a
So
dormer.
what I'm getting at is that they should have sent you to us about the pool.
No, they had a
I don't think they even realized, they had a pool.
Permanent location, no, I
for a
understand.
conforming
There was an
location,
error.
And it was up to 20,
Yeah.
and then it was, I don't think they've even done a final inspection yet. We
No, they
discovered
did all
this.
the inspections, they
Yeah.
approved it all. I said, you want a survey? They said, no, we don't need it.
But the
Perfect.
pool ended up being located at a different location than what was proposed.
When I got the survey, right.
So it
So
went
that's
down.
why we're, yeah.
Right.
So that's kind of what I'm getting at. So, you know,
Yeah,
it's
so-
fine that you're here, but this helps us understand how this all occurred.
So, but even without the garage, second-story deck, we would be here for the pool because of the contractor error.
Right,
That slid it back.
How far off was it?
It was slid back, let's see. I don't know if I have the exact.
I would have preferred it where I wanted it.
Yep. Who was the contractor?
Swim King Pool,
Okay, and when was this done?
just last year.
It was about 9 feet.
They came and
further back.
inspected everything and said, it's fine. I said, you need a survey? They said, no, it's fine, beautiful. But
So-
then when we went for this, we did the survey and we realized it was 4% back.
Okay, so I know you indicated that they misread a note
Yes, you can
on the
You
survey?
can see it says 10-foot minimum that was noted in there. So
Yeah.
The pool contractor took that and said, oh, I have room here.
Yeah, I see.
And
Yeah, and if you
What
could
he was
submit
doing-
that, if you could
Yes, it's
submit
in-
that.
it's in my
It's in
application.
your application, okay, so it should be there. So sometimes, often, most of the time, when we have as-built, we want an explanation. And sometimes we'll take the explanation from the property owner, and sometimes we want a further explanation from the contractor. So I'm not sure where other board members are about that, as to whether.
The homeowner's here, he's
The
told us
homeowner's
how it
here.
happened.
I-
Can you run it?
I think so, I think so.
I'm okay with
I'm
that.
satisfied.
Yeah, okay.
I'm satisfied.
You all right? Okay, you guys okay with it? Okay. Keith?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right, so I just wanted, you know,
But you need to address Mike's comments.
comments, absolutely. But before we do that, I just want to mention, and greatly appreciate the explanation, greatly appreciate why you're here. People who are in the business of building on residential properties or commercial properties for that matter, are supposed to, know what to do. And so it's unfortunate whenever I hear, whenever we hear applications for as-built, and we just want to know, how it transpired. But in this situation, it had nothing to do with you.
There's no great benefit. I mean, it slid
Yeah.
back a little. Like I said, it's about 9 feet. But had he, of course, had we known, especially when we knew we were going to come here for the garage, we would have told him, no, put it back to where it was.
Yep.
It would have been more in the sun.
Right.
I do want to mention, I did speak to, I got calls from 2 of the neighbors.
Okay.
I don't know if they're here, but they both indicated that they had no interest in coming. They had no problem with it. It was Carol Miller, she's across the street, and Diane Bennett is at 497 Majors Path. I spoke to both of them.
And my direct neighbor gave me permission. He was going to give me a letter, but.
Yes, the most affected neighbor on the west side there, Jeff, Mr. Sadowski knows him, and he spoke to him, and he indicated he would not come. He had no problem with the
Okay. So we got a comment from Mike Benincasa, Chief Building Inspector.
Yes, I received that today.
Yes.
Yes, and we can have the architect provide those details to make sure that you
Yep.
see the source of where he got his.
He just wants to make sure that the calculations were done correctly. So if you can, follow up with him, that would be greatly appreciated. The other thing I just wanted to mention is the amount of pyramid relief, I think, is, considering that the 783 already is existing. It's not an insignificant amount of pyramid relief, but you're dealing with a situation with a pre-existing non-conforming structure. So I think that, explains it somewhat, although we'll see if a neighbor is here. The rear yard lot coverage is a big number. Yeah, it's 20% to 29.4. That's a pretty big number. We typically see that for tennis courts as opposed to, a rear yard pool. But in this circumstance, you would have to eliminate one of the structures in order to live up to a pyramid, which would be, I would imagine, rather costly. Just a hunch, I don't know. Yeah, that's to give pretty much, I don't know whether you can even have any of the pool left at that, and live up to the rear yard lot coverage.
Not with the access to the garage.
Okay. Do we want to have an estimate as to what it would cost?
They're gonna do resubmission, they're gonna do written submissions anyway with the
Yeah.
architect, so maybe you could just.
Just add that in. Basically, we're not, this isn't because we want you to remove the pool. This is because we want to show the financial harm if you had to move the pool.
Right.
Okay, just to have that in the file.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. All right.
Can't imagine it would be cheap.
I can't imagine it would be. Yeah. And had they done things correctly in terms of locating it correctly?
Yeah, everything was fine. The
There
building
was.
inspector said it was beautiful.
There was a conforming location,
Yeah.
but there was a builder error. Okay.
Yeah, he wanted me to push it back farther. I said, no way, I'm not going to take it. I said, I'm very neighborly. I know I'm going to keep everybody happy.
applicant and the building department, you know?
Yep, I understand. Okay, that's all I had. Any other questions from members of the board?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, you could not create an interior stairway to the upstairs?
I
in the
can't
garage?
because what happened is when I first purchased the house, the entire garage was partitioned off to make a cottage. So I went to the building department and I've asked all the building inspectors, is this feasible for me to make an apartment back here? I had a 600 square foot front house. I want to make my front house bigger, but I need a place to live. Can I make a quick apartment back there? They said, yes, you're not changing the footprint. No problem. So I said, okay, it's going to get very costly for me, and I put $5,000 into this project. I submitted it for a permit. They said, oh, no, we realize now that the garage would probably be a second story. Your front house is a first story, so make your front house bigger first. And I was like, well, I asked you guys all these questions. I spent a lot of money here. So I ripped it all out and said, all right, I'll put a shop in there. I love doing auto body. I own a lot of old cars, but then all of a sudden I'm running air guns on my neighbors. I'm distracted them. So now I don't want to do the air guns. I don't want to disturb my neighbors. And then I got married. My wife wanted a pool.
I'm sorry.
Now she wants half my shop. Yeah. Now she wants half my shop for a pool house. So now I got to turn half my shop into a pool house. Now she wants a gym. So there goes my garage. So there goes, and the only reason I purchased that house is because it had a monster 2-car garage in the back, which I wanted all my life. And now it's taken away from me. So,
Based on that story, you can have whatever you want.
Right, and that's the truth. But, and I went for it to the department. They said, yes, they were going to grant it for me. But it was a single dormer. I didn't go for the pyramid for the second dormer. But it just looked awkward.
Yeah.
It didn't look, so I went to my neighbor and I said, look, I won't put windows in there. I don't want you to feel like I'm going to look down at you. He goes, no, Jeff, you do whatever you want. You bettered this neighborhood. And all my neighbors are like, wow, Jeff, it's so neat here. What you're doing, you're inspiring everybody to do better on everything. And I'm a estate manager. I've been in caretaking all my life. I'm very neat on the outside,
Yeah.
But, so, and now he goes, put windows in it, Jeff. You're not looking at my property at all. I'll write you a letter if you want. I'll tell him it's no problem.
My only other question was, does the deck break the pyramid plane too?
No, I set it back.
You did. I noticed you set it back. I didn't know you
Right, I
set
only
it
did the
back.
deck because the road's so noisy.
Okay.
I get commuter traffic every morning and afternoon.
Good.
That's the only peaceful spot back there. I could set it on the ground, but there's really no way to get in there. So I put the staircase inside the garage and put a bathroom in there. Then I minimized to maybe 15 foot for a pool house. A staircase is going to take 5 foot. A bathroom will take 6 foot. And it just crunches it. And the point what you were asking, I had to put a steel beam in for the town, which is very costly, for the garage because I didn't want to do any lolly columns. I was going to do a motor hoist and everything. So I got a steel beam in there that would probably hold up the Twin Towers. And to take that out now, to move it in to put a staircase, it's just, again, it's going to be unbelievable.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard this evening in connection with the application of Sadowski? This is for 190 North Sea Mecox Road in North Sea. If not, Jason.
Candace, you waiting on anything?
No, just whatever the board discusses.
How long do you need for written submission? For the financial estimate?
I can call him tomorrow. The lawn's flat next door, but I can. I'll call first thing tomorrow, tell me to get on it.
I can have a decision for you in 2 weeks. That's good.
Oh, so can we do 10 days for the written submission? Is that too close?
Well, we can put it down for that. and if-
Okay, and if the architect's tied up, we'll let you know.
Right.
So 10 days, okay.
So I would like to make a motion to close the public hearing, leave it for written subs. I can have a decision for you at the next meeting for 18.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Mr. Hahn.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for your time.
Have a good night.
Item 5 on the agenda is Sean King, 16 Farmstead Lane in Watermill, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-65-2-3.55. Applicant requests relief from Town Code 330-84D, Pyramid Height, for a proposed encroachment in the amount of 1,507 cubic feet for a proposed attached garage, and relief from Town Code 330-11.2G3, accessory apartment special standards to allow an accessory apartment efficiency unit that is greater than 35% on the total floor area of the main dwelling, to wit 44%, to be located on the second floor of the proposed attached garage, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction. You pass that to Brian.
Evening.
Good evening. For the applicant, John Bennett and Mr. and Mrs. King are here with me,
Yep.
which is good.
I can swear them in if you'd like. Whoever would like to go first.
Sean King, 16 Farmstead Lane, Watermill.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, ma'am?
Emily King, 16 Farmstead Lane, Watermill.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. And sir?
Dominic Lapierre, architect, 200 Madison Street, Sag Harbor, New York.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
So you can just spell your last name for me.
Lapierre.
And I know that, wasn't Emily? Emily, yeah.
She's good.
Okay. Thank you all.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I'll try to move through this pretty quickly. I think I'm not trying to be presumptuous when I say that I think it's similar to applications that you've looked at before and generally not had too many concerns about. That'll, obviously, we'll see what happens. I don't think this is very aggressive. So it's Mr. and Mrs. King, principal residence, and the attempt is to place an accessory apartment in the garage, and construct this garage and have an accessory apartment there. There are two types of relief that are necessary. The apartment, the house is a rather modest house. It's, worked this out with the building department. It's 1,171 square feet, and the apartment proposed is 477 square feet. So that places the, from a percentage point of view, that places the apartment at 41% of the total floor area of the principal residence, where 35 is permitted. I'll hand you some cases, and I'll just very briefly discuss one or two of them. But I think that's well within the ambit of what the board has been, fortunately, comfortable with in the past. So it's, I don't see it as a significant variance, but ultimately it's up to you to make that decision.
John, those numbers you just said, are those new numbers?
Yeah, it's 1,171 square feet.
You're going to submit something for that?
Yeah. Well,
These are all the notes from the building department that talked about the
these are
habitable
notes from the
space
building
and,
department that
okay.
talk about it. We can get that to you if you could, I should have it with me, but if I don't have it with me right now, I'll get it.
Okay, just submit it.
So I'll get you the calculation of the floor area of principal structure. Okay.
We have that, Katie, in the.
We do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I do.
Good, good. It must be there.
January 16th of 2019, unless they
Yeah.
changed?
No.
Oh, it's changed from that.
Drop down, Brian.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The building department had all those notes about calculating it. John read different notes, so numbers, so I thought they had changed.
What do the numbers there say?
You've improved a little bit.
What are they?
Right, first was 44, now it's 41.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, that, as a result of a meeting with the building inspector. Where is that building department approved recalculation?
It's on the drawings.
It's on the drawings?
Yep.
Oh, okay. And those are drawings that have been resubmitted?
They were brought to your office the other day.
Okay. So we'll submit those. Do you have copies of these?
Just that.
Just this one. So what we'll do is these are calculations as a result of meeting with the building department. We'll submit additional copies of these. And you'll notate that so a reader can look at it and.
Yeah, they're
make sense of
bigger.
it? Okay, good, perfect. All right, thanks. Okay. Thank you.
Like that, like letter size, a lot easier.
So you'll get that to us.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry about that. I know-
Apartment, how many bedrooms in the apartment?
One bedroom.
It's a studio apartment.
So, the property is in an already zone, but it's a clustered subdivision, so it's R20. So we meet all those R20 setback requirements, so we don't need any setback relief. And also, something, you learn something every day, and I'm just gonna read this because it's new to me, but it's the operative law. Inasmuch as Watermill is defined as a census-designated place where density measures less than 500 people square mile, the subject property at over 22,000 square feet is conforming with respect to lot area requirements for the establishment of an accessory apartment, as opposed to the 30. This, again.
That's from what? The master plan or the
No,
cluster
that's
plan or
not,
what?
it's a code amendment.
Oh, it's a code
Again, this is what the building department is telling us, which is okay, so.
We'll see.
So instead of, so we don't need relief from the,
Yeah.
usually it's 30,000 square feet.
It is,
no?
it is.
The new Candace?
Designated area.
Brand new.
As of,
I think just a couple of months ago.
oh, all
Okay.
right.
If I'm correct.
If Candace says it's true.
It's new. We'll take it.
Yep.
All right.
And then the other thing that we would require would be what I think is a fairly minimum amount of pyramid relief, and it's shown on the elevations that the architect is right here is prepared. It's essentially just a headroom issue.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's minimal. It's 1,995.42 cubic feet. I hope I'm right on that number. 'Cause I'm not getting embarrassed with getting the numbers. a little
Well,
confused
I don't mean to embarrass you, but I will.
Probably changed based on the building department notes.
It's actually gone down.
Okay.
1,295.91, so 1,296 cubic feet.
1,296.
Okay,
Okay.
so, and you'll get that
Yep.
to us? Okay, so just so the board can write the decision if they're kind enough to grant it.
I think those are the drawings you have there.
Okay.
Just checking that out.
But in any event, I'll hand up, and I don't want to go through them, but I'll hand up, I have a couple packets of other variants that have been granted in the area, if you want to give us a copy. Not only in the area, but generally, and in terms of how aggressive or not this is in terms of the pyramid relief. You do have matter of wiki where the board granted 5,065 cubic feet. Very proudly handled that application myself.
Can you bring it up one
It's
more
there.
time?
It's there.
Bring it up one more time, John, or what?
Have you heard from any of the neighbors?
Well, we heard from the O'Briens next door.
Right, I saw their
who originally
emails.
were concerned.
And now they're withdrawing that.
And now they've withdrawn that.
Yeah,
I saw that email.
Okay.
She just had concerns. I talked to her today, everything's fine.
Okay, and is this the neighbor to the, I believe to the west?
Right.
The south?
This is,
Okay.
and just so you know, this
On the
is,
corner lot.
On the corner
They
lot.
sent an email back saying,
Okay.
this is a,
Yes.
this is a
It was
copy,
really nice.
All right, put this
it's a
behind.
copy of her,
I don't want, I
of
really don't.
O'Brien's survey.
Thing again.
And the O'Brien's
They have
house
17
is
times.
54 feet from the property
You know
line,
it's John
so
Road.
Okay.
it's, I don't see it as a,
Yep.
it's a fairly minimal request. I'm trying to make sure there's nothing else I had. We ran a quick review of properties in the area and identified several accessory apartments at 161 Blank, 179 Narrowland South, and 268 Stubbable, so it's not unusual.
Yeah.
thing in there.
No.
And then I don't want to bore you with going through those variances, because I think you've heard them all before, but I put them in the record for
Yep,
It's not as much as Beth Wicky's, that's for sure.
fine application.
Yeah.
Handled very adroitly.
So,
I just had a, go ahead, Dan.
yeah, no, why don't you go ahead first?
I just, did you need, I didn't see it for a second driveway. Do you need relief for that?
No, I think we're required to have a second driveway and second parking for the accessory apartment.
No,
Yeah.
What do we do with that?
definitely required to have parking, but not.
The two driveway thing, I think, we've been given relief for that because the code says one, or,
Those as one access road.
that's what it is.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So,
But we also, the code also says you have to have parking for the accessory apartment, which we have provided one in the driveway.
Yeah. Well, if it turns out that you need relief, that we can include it under any of the relief necessary, and the driveways are shown on the...
They're shown.
On the survey, okay. Yeah, and the only,
Does
yeah,
that prohibit a circular driveway as well? That's interesting.
No.
That counts, fine.
That makes no sense, but in any event.
there are a few things that don't make sense.
Talk to them downstairs, John.
Right, yeah, yeah.
I would think the limitation of driveway would be on curb cuts, but,
Yeah.
Okay, all right, well, if I need that relief, I respectfully pray for it then.
Yeah. So I just had a question about the locating of the garage. So I presume the pyramid relief that is needed is on the west?
If you shifted the garage over to the other side?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd still need the same relief.
Yeah, yeah. So I was, just wanted to ask about that, I guess that was the
That I
most...
thought was an obvious question. If
Yeah.
I shifted it over there, it would still need the same amount of relief.
Okay.
And anything else, I think just in terms of fairness and the flow of the lot, you'd be putting it in the middle of the lot.
Right.
You'd be doing it in the backyard,
Right.
which
Right.
I don't necessarily, given the fact that it's de minimis, given the fact that the closest neighbor would be 54 feet away from their property line, given the fact that the adjacent neighbor doesn't have any problem with it, I think it's reasonable to request that.
Yeah, no, it's fine, just
But it's,
wanted to ask.
yeah, I mean, that's the first thing. I looked at.
Right, right, yeah, okay. All right. Any other questions from members of the board?
I have no issue with it. It's a modest house, and they're building a modest apartment.
Right, right, yeah, okay.
So you're gonna get us those
I will.
calcs so that we can submit them?
Yeah, they're on the drawings.
No,
But we'll,
Which one?
we
We just need a,
yeah, we'll need the, yeah,
Like the
the,
letter you gave us, we just need a new.
yep, and the revised, any revised documents in terms of the changes to the pyramid, we're gonna need that information. So we'll leave it open for written submissions. However, is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard this evening in connection with the application of King? This is for 16 Farmstead Lane in Watermill. Okay, if not, Brian.
All right, seeing here, no one, I move that we close the public hearing, leaving it open for written submissions, which will be a revised, just a revised calculation letter for us.
You'll get those to my office so that.
And Katie, did we find that section? Do we need that section?
Yep, it's 33011.2J1.
330
11.2J1.
J1.
J1, got it.
One access driveway. One access driveway, 33011.2J1.
With a decision for April 18th is our next meeting, right?
Yep.
Or 18th.
Learn something new every day. 2 access driveways. Period? No matter how big the lot is?
You're allowed to have one access driveway, yeah.
No matter how big.
No matter how big the lot is?
Yeah.
It could be a 10-acre lot.
Yep.
But you could have a circular driveway.
Yep.
Go figure. All right, okay.
Yeah.
Think about that one all night, John.
Yep. Anyway, thank you all.
Thank you.
Right.
Do we have a second on the motion?
Second.
When you gonna have the decision, Brian?
418.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Hahn.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess. Chair votes aye. Thank you.
Excuse.
Okay, item 6 on the agenda is East Quogue 535 Realty, Inc., 535 Montauk Highway in East Quogue, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-341-1-52. Suffolk County Tax Map 900-34-1-52. Applicant requests a determination as to whether or not the proposed 1,800 square foot convenience store is a customary accessory use to the existing gasoline filling station pursuant to Town Code 330-5 definitions, accessory use, buildings or structures. In addition, applicant requests relief from the following provisions of the Town Code for the proposed convenience store. Excuse me, 330-30B, 6, general regulations to allow the lot to be covered with 66.4% of impervious or paved surfaces where a maximum of 60% is permitted. 330-83G1, B1, yards to allow the proposed convenience store to be located within the transitional rear yard, a setback of 15.97 feet where a minimum of 20 feet is required. And 330-95, schedule of off-street parking spaces parking space requirements for non-residential uses, to allow 8 parking spaces where a minimum of 18 parking spaces is required, 4, 330-116 extensions as it relates to 330-167B1A, specific types of variances to allow an expansion of a non-conforming use, and 5, 330-34, business district's table of dimensional regulations for a front yard setback of 25 feet plus or minus where 30 feet is required, and a rear yard setback of 15.97 feet where 30 feet is required, and any other relief necessary.
Board has jurisdiction.
Good evening. I just have to swear you in unless you're an attorney.
I'm not.
You're not an attorney, okay. State your name and address.
Charles W. Southern Jr., registered architect, 435 Bay Home Road, Southampton, New York.
And do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, and sir?
Client.
Please state your name.
One Stack Golf Court Eastport.
Okay, and do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay,
I'm gonna
just need your,
spell your
spell
name
your
for
name first.
Your first name?
Reggie.
Reggie, R-E-G-G-I-E?
Right.
Last name?
Erkan, E-R-K-A-N.
E-R-K, all right, thank you.
Okay, can you tell us about the application?
We're here to propose a renovation to an existing non-conforming use in a Howard office area of a gas station that's been here for many, many years. It's quite run down. It has no landscaping whatsoever. It's all paved. It has no curbing around the property. The pumps are within a few feet of the front yard. So what we're proposing to do is remove the existing building and to build a new 1,800 square foot convenience store to the rear of the property, meeting all the setbacks other than the rear yard setback buffer against the residence. And we're asking for a parking relaxation and also a landscape relaxation. First, I think, is a determination whether the convenience store is going to be considered accessory use to the existing gas station.
Which we have a whole history of in terms of how we address those types of issues.
Okay.
And I don't, my guess is you're probably familiar with it, but I can
Go ahead.
go through it with you, which is basically, we look at the dollars and cents, money that you get from the gas sales versus the either existing or proposed amount of income you anticipate getting from the convenience store. And basically, what we want to see is that the accessory use is accessory, meaning that the amount of money you make out of selling gas is more than what you make out of from the convenience store use.
My client here has a number of gas stations, and they have convenience stores and gas pumping facilities, so he will attest to the fact that he makes a lot more profit out of the gas than he does out of the convenience.
Okay, but we're going to need more than just his testimony.
A
We're gonna
letter
need-
from your accountant, or just someone, not specific numbers, just outlining that, what the percentage of gas sales versus convenience sales are. So 60%, 66% come from gas and the rest comes from convenience, just percentages in a letter from a professional.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think we would want it going back 2 or 3 years. I don't know that we want to necessarily have it just be a single
Yeah, I mean,
year.
it's got to be, Charles and I discussed
Right.
this, I mean, we
Okay.
have, we've had, I mean, it's you, so it's different. We've had, Shell and large chains come in, and it was easy for them, because they can compare all of the sizes of all of the gas stations that they have to convenience stores. But anything that can show that it's going to be similar, I mean, it's, common sense suggests that you're going to make more with the gas, because it's just more expensive. But we need a way to be able to verify.
Understandably.
No, no matter how big this is.
How many gas station convenience stores do you have? 3. You have 3. And not including this one, or including this one?
Including this one.
Including this one, so you're not including 3 other ones. So
Okay.
he's got something that he can show.
Yeah.
Various
give it to us.
things.
We're just looking for you to be able to document it, okay? So that we have a comfort level in terms of reaching the conclusion that the proposed convenience, the convenience store
Is
use
accessory.
is actually accessory to the primary use.
Okay, all right, that's fine. We'll provide the information to you.
Okay.
What we've tried to do is we've tried to create a building that
looks like a residential building. We wanted it to be a one-story building. We wanted it to be Cape effect to look like it belonged in this area. Planning, I appeared at the application conference with the planning board about a year ago. They were suggesting we put a two-story building up to reduce the size of the footprint, similar to a facility that's on Montauk Highway in another location. We didn't like that idea because we didn't feel it was appropriate here in this location. This is a much more low-scale downtown area, and we wanted to keep it so it wasn't obtrusive, it didn't stand out, and the building that they were suggesting would have done exactly that in this area.
What's the square footage of the existing building?
The existing building is 1,182 square feet. We have met the setback, front yard setback from Montauk Highway of 30-foot or for the canopy, a small canopy, a pitched roof canopy. Small canopy over 3 gas pumps. We have an existing 3 gas pumps. We have a side yard on Walker Avenue of 20-foot, of setback to 30 feet. There was I had left the dimension off of the building from Walker as a setback, and I have it in the new drawings, which I have here, which it is 30 foot. We did set it back 30 foot. We've got 20-foot landscape buffer on Walker Avenue. And we attempted to maximize the landscaping. We felt it was more important in this kind of a setting that we had the setbacks and the landscaping to make it like a downtown area rather than a commercial highway, as the rest of, most of Montauk Highway is at this point. We've got 60, what is the percentage of landscaping? Total landscaping provided is 5,493 square feet, or 33.6% of the site. We're supposed to have 40, so we're asking for a relaxation of that, to that amount. The major relaxation we're asking for a buffer relaxation against the house to the south of this. And what we intend to do is what we call superior landscaping. There already is a significant existing landscape buffer there, but we're going to landscape from the entire rear of the building to the property line. There are no doors, there's no access, there'll be no equipment in the back of the building, so to give a buffer from them. I received a call from Barbara Rasmussen. I believe you have a letter.
We did.
That she sent you.
Yes, we received it.
I had a number of discussions with her. I sent her all of the drawings. I sent her a copy of the rendering. She represents the family to the east side of this property. She was concerned about moving the store to the rear of the property, moving things back on the back of their property because they had the pool in the back. But I looked at the aerial and I see that their pool is actually behind the residence to the south of us, nowhere near this property. Their house, part of their house is sort of splitting where this building is in line, but there, again, there's a significant landscape buffer in there now, and we're proposing to add additional landscaping. There is a 6-foot stockade fence. We're going to maintain that and repair that on the east side of the property line. And there's a questionable fence on the south side of the property, which we're going to install a new stockade fence there to hide it from the rest of the property. We've significantly cut down the area of paving. This entire site is paved. This site has no curbs. You just drive in off Montauk Highway or Walker Avenue. There's no direction in the entrances to the property, the exits from the property. So this will give it some structure.
Okay, so a lot of relief. It is a small lot, and so I understand that part of the relief is driven by the fact that, by the size of the lot and where what currently exists there. The one concern I had looking at the relief was the parking spaces. So I don't know if have we referred it to planning board?
We have.
Okay, so I don't know whether they're going to be okay with going from 18 spaces to 8 spaces.
I had this I received from the planning board, what they were suggesting that we put on the site. It's similar to another location, and I'm not sure where the other location is. They put it on our site. That's a 2,200 square foot building, and they only have 9 parking places.
Okay.
So we know, we have 8 parking places, plus we have 6 gas pump station places.
Yeah.
This is a low-traffic area. It's not a busy highway where you're going to have a lot of traffic coming and going.
Yeah.
So why it is substantial, we could definitely get more parking on the site if we reduce the landscaping. But it's a toss-up, whether you want to sacrifice the landscaping or the parking, where personally, I don't think the parking's that necessary.
Or like planning said, make it a 2-story building.
Or make it a 2-story, which will stand out like a
Right,
sore
right.
thumb in this.
Do you want this to go into the record? Because we can give it to our attorney, or do
Yeah,
you,
sure.
or is it your own
Yes,
copy?
no, I have
Okay.
the original.
All right, so we have to
We've
stamp
we've
it.
coordinated, we also have to coordinate seeker on this.
Yeah,
so,
so we
you
got
know,
stamp
So
it.
the
I
planning
understand.
board's going to take a look at it.
Okay, good,
We've
good.
been to a pre-application conference.
Yeah, no, I just, the reason I'm asking, and I understand everything that you're saying, but 18 spaces to 8 spaces is a lot.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah,
That is significant.
Yes, yep.
Like I said, we could get another 4 or 5 spaces, but we're going to sacrifice the landscaping. And it would be off of Walker Avenue to the west side of the building would be the space where it would be. We could certainly use that as a land banking, where if we found out that it was necessary,
Yeah.
we could apply to put some more parking over there.
Yeah.
But we tried to maintain the landscape.
Well, generally, when it comes to these kinds of issues,
Planning.
I give a lot of deference to what the planning board's recommendation is, and if they're okay with it, speaking for myself, I'm okay with it. But if they're not, then we're gonna have to figure out what to do.
Understandably.
Yeah, okay. Have we heard from any of the neighbors?
Just the ones that were represented by Ms. Rasmussen.
Okay, and the proposed, the proposals that are in her April 4th letter, I know you talked about them before. Are you, at this point, in agreement in terms of?
Those are all done. Those are all part of the plan, and I discussed it with her, and she just said her clients wanted it on the record so that they made sure that we did that. Because I sent her plans, and I explained to her that we've already provided the buffer areas required by code, that we're doing landscaping, we're putting a fence.
Okay.
I think that was their
Well-
main concern.
Okay, so if it's in the record, would it be something that your client would agree to as a condition of a decision?
Oh, it's no question, it's on the drawings.
Okay.
It's already proposed.
Okay, great.
What-
Including, they also mentioned screening.
Yes,
Okay. Is that on the drawings as well?
yes, this is also on the drawings. There is
Okay.
there are landscape plan, landscaping.
Watch out
and
for the
lighting.
microphone.
Again.
Yeah, that's okay.
There's a landscaping lighting plan,
Okay,
and there's a 6-foot high stockade fence. It's all shown on the drawings.
okay, all right.
Can I see that, the landscape plan?
Certainly. That is also, I have a board with it on too.
What's the canopy area on the site development plan? What does that mean? Is that where the pumps are?
I'm sorry, what?
What's the canopy?
That's over the pumps. There's a small canopy over the pumps, 24-foot high, it's a pitched roof. You'll see it on,
Yeah.
you'll see it here.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause one of the things that you and I had discussed was the expansion of the non-conforming use.
Right.
So I don't think that this canopy area is going to count towards it. You know, the existing building you said was, you know, this says 1182. The new building is 1800.
Right.
I don't think that the canopy area is going to count towards the, you know, that pre-existing area of it, which means that you're going to be slightly over your expansion of your non-conforming use.
When I did it, it actually came out to 1,700, and so I think we're 27 square feet over
Okay.
with the
So-
1,800, which
Okay.
needs to be reduced.
We need to be reduced, well, it has to be reduced.
we can't go over.
We can't
We can do
go,
that.
we can't go over the 50%.
That's fine. We have no problem.
Yeah.
I understood that when I met with
Yeah,
them.
so that would mean that the plans would have to be changed slightly in order to make that adjustment.
That's not a problem, yeah.
Okay, But being that the whole process, the public hearing is going to be kept open, you're going to have time to address that as well. With all this having been said about what's being proposed in terms of kind of all of it, it's good to see that you're looking to make it nicer, and I do, that I think that's a benefit. So, overall, and the look of it from the photographs that you have, it looks like it's going to be, I think fit in pretty well. We'll see if there are any neighbors here. There may be, or may not be, I don't know. But, otherwise, we just have some issues to square away. And also find out where the planning board is on all of this. Also, besides the issue with the parking, the planning board's opinion of the landscaping plan and the look of what's being proposed matters to us a great deal as well, because you'll be dealing with them with site plan.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
In terms of your landscaping plan, the neighbor to the south, I guess, is getting a lot of screening here, but the neighbor to the east is just getting low-lying plants and the 6-foot stockade fence. Could you bring the Leland cypress up along the side here?
Yes.
On the eastern side?
Yes, that's
Can I
not,
make a notation here on your?
yes, you can.
Talking about the circled area there. Would you be comfortable with that?
You don't, keep it if you want.
No, that's yours. I don't.
Okay.
One of the, if I may, one of the things that I would recommend, again, not knowing where this is going, but that dumpster is going to be pretty much in line with that neighbor's house and dumpsters can get stinky, right?
True.
So I'd ask you to consider looking to relocate that someplace that won't be right next to a neighbor's house.
We can, yeah, see, we're on two corners.
I see that.
Anywhere else we put it is going to be located in the front yard. We didn't want to do that.
I'd be
Because they-
inclined to give you relief
I'm sorry?
if you located on the Walker Avenue side.
We have no problem putting it over
Yeah,
there.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
With screening around it.
Yeah, there's no,
Yeah,
it would be
but
screened,
that
it's
would
screened
be
anyway,
relief
but
to
we have no
move it
problem
closer
with,
to the road.
I just didn't want to put it in the front yard without
Yeah.
having
think that's a good
something to
point.
say.
I mean, it's never been a beautiful location to begin with. I remember it from years ago, So, but that dumpster there would, I don't think, be fair to the
Easy
neighbor.
enough to flip it onto the other side.
Okay. All right, any other questions, members of the board? Is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard this evening in connection with the application of East Quogue 535 Realty, Inc.? This is for 535 Montauk Highway in East Quogue. If not, Keith?
No, you're gonna have to leave this open, right? We gotta wait for planning.
Yep.
I put it back on for,
Second meeting in May.
yes. Or you could do the first meeting in May. 'Cause by then, we should have heard back from everybody we coordinated with. We can get an update, we can do lead agency
So we're
resolution.
gonna leave this open for all purposes to May 2nd.
Second.
I have a question.
Is that enough time? I thought we needed 30 days to coordinate.
Yeah, we actually sent out our coordination letters
Already.
on March 29th.
Okay, excellent, okay, wow.
Is it upset when you required to submit a
I'm sorry?
landscape plan, a revised landscape plan? Are you-
Yes,
I think so, yes.
And revised building to 50%.
Yep.
Thank you.
And that's, but again, that's probably also gonna change through the secret process too, so you don't necessarily need to have that for May 2nd.
Oh, you'll have it for May 2nd.
Okay, but I'm just saying, it may change as you start meeting with the planners as well, so if it's a work in progress.
Reggie, you could probably produce the, the comparison as far as the percentage of use, fuel versus convenience by May 2nd?
Sure. Okay, excellent. Okay, do we have a second motion?
Second.
Mr. Tudhill?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa?
Aye.
Mr. Hahn?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Item 7 on the agenda, this is a holdover application from our meeting on January 3rd. This is 192 Hampton Bays Realty LLC. Suffolk County Tax Map 900-221-3-17. This is 192 West Montauk Highway in Hampton, Mass.
David, do you have an extra one or no?
Sure.
I'd like one.
You always come with some extras.
You pass that to Adam? And then take one and pass it down.
And
That's mine.
I have a feeling I'll be involved in this one, so thank you.
For the applicant, David Gilmartin Jr., Farrell Fritz, 50 Station Road, Watermill, New York. We appeared before the board 3 previous times on this, and we went to the planning board, did secra, got a negative declaration, so we're back. So I thought I'd run through quickly, go over what we've talked about already. We're looking for 2 variances here to reconstruct an old gas station that exists at 192 West Montauk Highway. We need a lot width variance from 200 feet to 170.67. That's a special exception standard requirement for gas stations. The lot width in the highway business zone is 150, so we meet that. Just a special exception requirement from which we need relief. We also need a determination from this board, which it has done on numerous occasions. I've included those decisions as exhibit number 5. We need an interpretation that the convenience store is accessory to the gas station. I think the most compelling thing about this application is that it's located in a highway business zoning district and the character of the area that surrounds it. So to our west, we have McDonald's and Stop and Shop. To our east, we have the Macy's and Panera Shopping Center. Across the street, we have Classic Beverage, Village Auto, Riverhead Building Supply, the Spring and Summer Activities, Pool Builders, Rapid Recovery, and the former Hampton Bays Diner. So again, it's in an HB zoning district. Gas stations are permitted by special exception in the highway business zoning districts, and we meet everything that's required except for lot width. We had an analysis done by the engineer, and we can provide all the curbing and all of the other necessary safety features for the lot within the 170. Again, we went through the secra, that was a part of the secra analysis, the safety, and we came out of that process with a negative declaration. I think the second most compelling fact about this is that the lot's 90,000 square feet, so it's could be 2 lots here. The minimum lot requirement in the HB zoning district is 40,000 square feet, and again, we have 90,000 square feet, so we more than meet the requirements there. The variance with respect to substantiality, it's a 14.7% variance on the lot width requirement. And the other thing that I would say, my client here owns and operates a significant amount of gas stations, has estimated that the convenience store will be approximately 12% of the receipts of the property. It's at 25%, but the building department has that policy of when it's a customary accessory use, so we're less than half of that. With respect to the environmental prong, you have a neg deck in your file. We went through that process. I would also submit that the lot, which had a prior gas station on, which we are removing, had existed on there, so it's not a self-created hardship, it's the narrowness of the lot that gives us, is why we're here tonight. So with that, I can answer any questions.
The same, Strong Oil is going to be the operator?
No.
No.
This is a different operator.
So
The strong oil, that's a decision that we used as a comparison to show that what we were doing was in the reasonable nature of what this board has done before. First, and then.
Planning board reviewed it, they're doing cross-access.
Right.
More parking lots, it looks like.
So you may be able to go and get your groceries, come by and get your gas, and then go get a shirt or something at Macy's.
So this, I'm sorry, you said before this is, it's a permitted use in highway business, right?
By special exception.
So even though it has a pre-existing CO, you're not bound by the expansion because it's now a permitted use?
Yeah, it's an interesting discussion. So it's allowed by special exception. Does that make it pre-existing, the old gas station pre-existing non-conforming? We didn't really want to get into that discussion because I think it's a challenging sort of zoning theory, so we just decided to come and ask for the relief.
Well, but is the square footage of the store right now the same as it was before?
It wasn't a store.
There's no store.
The structure, the structure.
It's a bigger structure, but we have a 90,000 square foot lots that really didn't come into play. The only benefit that we could have had making the pre-existing non-conforming argument was on the lot width. The other thing is that, you know, I think there's probably an abandonment issue here.
Been abandoned for a
Defunct for
while.
some time.
Yeah, so, and it, you know.
There was an environmental issue there. Has that all been cleaned up? That's
Yeah,
done?
DEC cleared it. We proved that to the planning board. That was obviously the first question that they raised, and we had gone through the DEC process. Actually, our predecessor in title went through that issue. We didn't buy it unless.
So essentially, you're giving up any pre-existing rights you have, and instead you're proposing something
Right.
that is what will be conforming to current, other than the relief, variance relief you're getting, asking for from us, other than that, it will conform.
Correct, in all regards except for lot width.
Yeah, okay. And the business with the convenience store analysis, you heard me on the last application, you're familiar with it. So pretty much we just need the documentation on that.
You have it?
We have that in the
Yep.
application.
It's in the.
Yep,
Put it
okay.
all in there.
Okay, good. And I think mostly we were just waiting on this because we were waiting for secret to be
Yeah,
complete.
that was, we just,
Yeah.
just got completed. This
Okay.
is the first date available after completion.
Wow, okay. All right. Well, I don't have any other questions. Any other questions, members of the board?
Good.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard this evening in connection with the application of 192 Hampton Bays Realty LLC? This is for 192 West Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays. If not, I have the lead on the application. Katie, how much time do we need?
Well,
'Cause I'm gonna need
I can have it
help
for the
with this
next
one.
meeting, I think.
I'm sorry?
I think I can have it for the next meeting.
Really? Okay. And are we waiting on anything at this point?
No.
Okay. All right, so I would move that we close the application for all purposes, and I will have a decision ready at our April 18th meeting.
Second.
Mr. DeStessa?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess?
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill?
All right.
Mr. Hahn? Chair votes aye. Thank you for being here.
See you in a couple minutes.
Okay.
It's only 8:20.
All right. We need a break? Do we want to take a short break?
I'm in.
Okay, we're gonna take a short break. Back on.
All right, item 12 on the agenda is Hampton Cove Realty, 4 Penning Lane in Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-323-2-6.1. This is held over from our March 7th meeting. Mr. Springer.
Yeah, we had kind of put this over because we had to coordinate for SECRA, and the letters went out a little bit later. So this is definitely a discussion today about lead agency. The planning board has asked to assume lead agency, so we can discuss that, and then if there's anything Kevin wants to update us on, I don't know if you've changed anything or if you were waiting for SECRA, but we asked Kevin to come back too.
Mainly waiting
Yeah.
for secret to see
Right.
what that was
Okay.
meeting, and then see where we go from there.
Okay, so I have a resolution that is, if we have a majority on the board that is leaning in that direction, would agree that the planning board act as lead agency in connection with the
We had that
application.
discussion, yes?
Well, I don't know if we had a discussion about it, but I
No,
have
we
a
haven't.
resolution.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
We
You
have,
got a resolution without
I have a resolution.
Okay.
So, but we'll see if we got 4 votes.
no, he was saying if there was a votes for it.
That's right.
You have my vote to
You have
get lead
mine.
agency to the planning board.
I do.
Yes, you do.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Okay.
Tudhill. And I don't know where.
Got
other-
mine?
Okay,
Me too.
I'm fine.
yeah, okay,
Not mine.
not yours, okay?
Mine.
Mike?
You have mine?
Yeah, okay. All right, so it looks like lead agency's going to planning board. So, I will make the motion, being that I'm the lead on the application. So, but before I do that, do you want to tell us anything?
No, it's, I'll hold it until the end.
Okay.
It's, similar arguments, but for now, I'd like to hear their comments
Okay,
through the planning board.
okay, all right, no problem.
Do we have a time frame on planning?
We'll get it done by December, all right?
No, well, listen, typically the board puts on the resolution, and then we'll pick like a control date, and we'll say, come back here, within a month or something. I mean, as soon as this board decides who's going to be lead agency, we send it back out to everybody. Planning board would get it. Hopefully they would, they meet next week, so hopefully they could get it on their agenda for next week.
Okay.
And then that would be conversations you would have with one of the planners, but this board typically picks another date in the future just
Right.
to control
That
the
I
conversation.
understand. Okay.
Right.
I'm just trying to get the time frame. So.
Yeah.
But how quickly, things move in terms of the secret process, that's, that part of it, we don't have control over.
understood.
Yeah, we're
what?
giving that authority to the planning board.
Okay, let's read that resolution.
Okay, we can do that. All right. So I have a secret resolution in connection with the application of Hampton Cove Realty. This is for a property located at 4 Penny Lane in Hampton Bays, tax map number 900-323-26.1. Whereas the Zoning Board of Appeals has received an application on behalf of Hampton Cove Realty for the expansion of a nonconforming use, to wit, to legalize the conversion of a garage into a cottage without the benefit of a building permit on a parcel improved with 1 2-bedroom cottage with deck and 4 1-bedroom cottages with porches. Whereas after review of the submittals, the ZBA found that this project is an unlisted action under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, (SECRA), and Southampton Town Code, and coordinated review with the following involved agencies by letter dated February 21st, 2019, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the Southampton Town Planning Board, and the Suffolk County Department of Health Services. And whereas the Southampton Town Planning Board requested lead agency status in connection with the SECRA review of this project, now therefore be it resolved that the Southampton Town ZBA hereby agrees that the Southampton Town Planning Board should assume lead agency status with regard to the application of Hampton Cove Realty pursuant to 6 New York CRR 617.6B, and be it further resolved that this board directs that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to all involved agencies.
Second.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly. Mr. Hahn.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
No.
Chair votes aye.
So then I would say, I would say either May 2nd or May 16th, as a control date to come back.
Right.
I mean, is one of those days better for you?
May 16th be better for us.
May 16th is better for us.
So be it. I second the
There you go.
motion.
Better for us.
So we're doing 16.
5/16/19.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
5/16, okay. All right, so I lead on the application. I would move that we hold the application of Hampton Cove Realty. Oh, before I do that, is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard in connection with the application of Hampton Cove Realty LLC for 4 Penny Lane in Hampton Bays? Okay, if not, I would move that we hold the application open for all purposes until our May 16th meeting.
Second.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Hahn.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you. Katie, I'll give this to you.
Yes, I'll put it in the green folder.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, moving right along. Item 13 on the agenda is 2287 Montauk Highway LLC. That's 2287 Montauk Highway in Bridgehampton, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-86-1-2. And this is held over from our February 21st meeting.
Yep, this was my recommendation to just keep the public hearing open for one last time, which was today, because I wanted, although it was unnecessary, and the DEC actually told me it was unnecessary, I did want the rescission of the conditional negative declaration to be published in the ENB. So I just wanted to have one more hearing on this, take any testimony from anybody's here, and then I would recommend that you close it for decision.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Is there anything new you would like to tell us, Mr.
I would just take
New.
position.
New.
No.
It's new, it's new. But you made a motion and voted on it, and it was approved to rescind. So that's the only thing that I would add, that decision has been made already.
Yes, that's true.
Yep.
Okay,
That's it.
all right.
Okay.
Any questions of members of the board of Mr. Gilmartin? Is there anyone from the public who would like to be heard this evening in connection with the application
Come on up.
of 2287 Montauk Highway LLC, which is for 2287 Montauk Highway in Bridgehampton?
Take it all new testimony.
You can have a seat, or? Yep, okay.
Good evening.
And were you previously sworn in on this application?
Yes, I was.
believe- Okay, excellent. All right, so if you can just state your name for the record.
My name is Gerard Widdershoven. I live at 43 Church Lane in Bridgehampton. One thing that has changed since the last few meetings, the reason that they were giving the opportunity to get off-site parking at Newman Village, which wasn't happening because it fell through. They tried to get parking at the church, which also didn't go through. The last time I was told, they tried to buy the property next door, but were outbid by another real estate broker, which turned out to be Mr. Joe Farrell. I spoke with Mr. Mizell this week, and he said that Mr. Farrell pulled out, so the property is again for sale. So there is an alternative besides trying to find parking that doesn't seem to exist.
Okay, well, we appreciate the information. It's up to the applicant.
I mean, he may, Mr. Gilmartin will inform his client that maybe he's interested in.
I'll advise.
We can't force him to buy the
No,
property
no, of
next
course
door.
not. No, but since that was brought up as one of the things that didn't go through, there is an opening, it is for sale, and the price has been reduced a bit.
I'll advise
Did you know
Mr.
about
Saunders.
this?
No,
Dave?
I mean, I talked to Mr., I talked to Gerard earlier this evening, and I mean, I would expect that Mr. Saunders knows more about the real estate business than I do, but I'll advise him and then, see if there's something we can do with Mr. Mizell.
Yeah, according to Mr. Mizell, the offer of Saunders originally was not high enough
I don't
to
think
be
it's
even
appropriate to
considered.
discuss.
We're not in the real estate business.
Yeah, no, me neither, but just telling you what I heard.
Yeah, and also, your private
TSA.
transactions are private
TSA.
transactions. Right. Yeah, we're just dealing with the application before us. We do appreciate the information, and maybe this will facilitate something that will be of great benefit, but,
Right,
you know.
because I know sometimes your decision is based on the fact that there's no alternative for a business to do something, so it's not like they totally locked in. I still think they've outgrown this property, and they have not enough parking spot as it is, but that's my opinion. Would it at all be possible at some point for us to see the new plans with the new, because I only got a floor plan of what the building looked like.
I think it's in the file.
Yeah.
I don't have it with me tonight, because I'm
So do
expecting to
I
have
need
this
to go to the
discussion.
building department to get that
Or
information?
you can call me back.
Yeah.
Call Mr. Gilmartin, he'll send you a
Call,
copy.
and I'm sure he'll be happy
I
to provide you a
tried to
copy.
reach out to you.
No, Mr. Gilmartin did call me to try to set up an appointment with Mr. Saunders. Unfortunately, it was in a week that I had some medical procedures. And then last week, nobody else on the block was available to come. So I thought, well, let's see what happens today, because I thought maybe there was already a decision, but
There isn't going to be a decision tonight, so there is time to communicate, such as it is, and as to whether that what you're telling us about is something that the applicant would want to explore.
what is the next step now?
Well, I think we're going to be putting on for
Close it.
the
We're
decision.
gonna make a motion to close with the decision on. What do we
I'll
think?
try for the next meeting.
4/18.
Another big one after I.
April 18, there'll be a decision.
We're gonna try to have one for that day.
Okay.
We're gonna use our best efforts to have one that day.
I will second that motion.
Okay, I just want to make sure there isn't anyone else from the public who wants to be heard on this
a good point.
application. Okay.
I just wanted to ask, are you still in opposition to this
Yes.
application?
Yes.
Okay. And Mr. Saunders has reached out to, or to,
I have reached out on behalf of Mr.
Right.
Saunders to set up a meeting. He was ready willing and able to meet on a couple separate occasions that we weren't able to just get calendars together. But we have made the offer, and it's still outstanding. We talked earlier this evening.
Okay.
I'll do the best we
I'd
can.
recommend that, given the opportunity to meet with him.
Yeah, and I would like to finally meet Mr. Saunders. He's been my neighbor forever. He was the original broker on the house that I bought from Saunders, but I've never met him yet.
Well, and maybe the fact that this is on for decision on April 18th might make that process happen quickly.
We have a motion on the floor?
And a second.
And a second.
Okay.
Jason, thank you.
Yes, Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Hahn.
Aye.
Mr. Tuthill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you for being here.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Gentlemen.
Yep. Good
Thank
night.
you. Have a great night.
Item 14 on the agenda is Lori and Anthony Belmonte, 70 Wakeman Road in Hampton Bays, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-298-1-2. This is held over from our March 21st meeting.
Evening.
Good evening.
Back for more.
Back for more. With some changes.
Okay.
Before you start, can she come in?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, of course.
Do you want to come up?
I believe that they both were sworn in last time.
Yes.
Maybe not her, but these two people have
Yes, they've been
been.
sworn.
Maybe we should identify them for the record.
There's a lot of talking going
There's a lot of what?
on. Talking.
I'm slow.
I know, that's okay.
Okay. All right, so we just have to swear people in. So ma'am, if you can just state your name and address.
My name is Lori Belmonte. My address is 93 Brenner Avenue in Bethpage, and I own the property 70 Wakeman Road in Hampton Bays.
Okay, and do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing
I
but the
do.
truth? Okay. Ma'am, I have to swear you in.
She was
Sworn
sworn
in.
last
Sworn
time.
in.
Then you
And
want
then
to
if you
just
just
identify.
to state your name.
Yeah, I don't understand already.
Can you state your?
Name.
Eva Norris.
Okay, thank you.
And your name, ma'am?
Michelle New,
Okay. And I swore you in previously?
the last meeting.
That's
The
what I
last
thought.
meeting, yeah.
Okay, okay, excellent. Okay, so you can fill us in as to where we are.
Okay, in the beginning, the pool was a little excessive, at 18 by 38. We have reduced that to 15 by 32. At current coverage right now is 967, I believe. We are taking the shed out, which I had mentioned previously, which would be, that's 100 square foot, which brings us down to 867. We were originally going to take the spa out, but since that wasn't really a big deal, what we are going to do is take the stairs and move them to the side of to the north side of the house, to open up the backyard a little bit, but also for the neighbors so that they don't have to watch coming down, and we'll just be on the one side. We'll quiet it a little bit also. So the stairs is another 58 square feet, which gives us 809 plus the 480, with the pool would be 15 by 32 now. The reason we kept it at that size is it still gives us a deep end to allow for somewhat of the diving. Not a lot, but a little bit.
Okay.
With the new calculation, brings us to 1,289 square feet, which comes out to about 23.4, if my math is correct.
Did the surveyor do the math?
Not yet. I haven't.
So if we can get,
Yes.
get the
Absolutely.
percentage.
Everything,
Okay.
because we're gonna, there also.
Okay.
So also we're also going to, there is a legal wood fence there now. That fence is going to be raised with a brand-new fence to 6 feet. Miss New, who lives in the property adjacent and behind technically, along there and along the north side, for Miss Norris, we are going to put mature arborvitaes, which obviously we know are quick growing.
How tall?
As tall as they can go.
Well, you might not want to say that.
How tall? I'm gonna have a landscaper trim them, so as tall as they can.
We need to know,
Like,
I mean, think about
Well,
that.
you mean what size to start?
To start, yeah.
Probably about the size, 5 to 6 foot, the size of the fence to start. By the end of the summer, they'll literally grow 1.5 to 2 feet.
Okay.
So they'll be, once they
Five or
mature, they
six.
will always be above the fence height also to add privacy.
Okay, 5 feet or 6 feet?
6 feet.
So you're saying when we put them in initially?
Yeah,
Yeah,
how
yeah,
tall are they gonna
6
be?
foot
When you
arborvitae.
purchase, when you purchase.
Yes, and I believe they.
That's a
6
great-
foot high.
That's a good idea, that's a nice, good idea.
Yep,
Nice idea, Laurie.
okay.
What'd you call
And
it?
again, with moving of the stairs, it'll also quiet that down a little bit. We will be putting a little bit of plantings, potted plantings per se, on the upper deck, as that was an issue from Ms. New also. And I believe with all of this, trying to keep it quieter and reducing the pool considerably. I had, obviously emailed, we couldn't get together, so I had emailed most of this stuff to Ms. New. And we've been in contact. I don't know what her thoughts are, but
We'll find out.
We'll find out.
So we started with an 18 by 38 pool.
Right.
And we're now down, you said, to 15 by 32?
15 by 32.
Okay, which is smaller than what I had in my notes from that we discussed last time.
yeah, I was a little bit, but then
32.
That's too big.
Okay,
Let
well,
him
well,
listen,
hold
let
on,
him-
hold on.
let him talk.
Okay, all right, so 15 by 32 is what's
Well,
being
if I'd
proposed
gone any
now.
bigger, it would have, one of your remarks, and I don't recall whose it was, but would have put me over the 25%, which obviously the board did not look favorably upon, which, again, was what we're trying to work this thing out, so that's
Okay.
why. And the 15 by 32, as I mentioned before, still gives us a little bit of a deep end, so that we, she does have middle-aged kids that can still dive in the pool and, younger families, so.
Yep,
That was
okay.
the point of that.
And you got the rear lot coverage down in 23.4, you think?
I believe that's pretty darn close.
Pretty close, so it'll be around that range.
It's gonna be in the 23, less than 24, so it'll be in between 23 and 24. If my math, which I believe according to the surveyor, if his numbers are all right, I believe
Okay.
mine are also.
All right. So has there been communication between you?
Only via email.
Okay.
She's not a full-time out here. So
Okay.
It's a little,
She is full-time.
Do I
out here.
have to agree to anything?
I'm absolutely gonna ask you questions in just a minute, okay?
spoke to you.
Yep.
Yes, I know, we're both full-time out here.
Yeah, okay. All
I'm a
right.
weekender.
Okay.
I come on the weekends and 1 week in the summer.
Okay, all right. So I want to tell you, I'm hoping you can hear me okay. I'm loud, so people usually can hear me. Okay. So we have a revised application. The applicant has made changes to the application to address your concerns. I don't know if you'll be happy with those.
The size of the pool, because it's right in my backyard practically.
Okay, so let me go through the changes, okay? You may still not be happy with them, I don't know. But let me go through the changes that have just been presented to us. So the pool originally had been 18 feet by 38 feet, okay? And during the public hearing last time, we talked about a pool that would be 16 feet by 32 feet. And the applicant instead is going to have it be 15 feet by 32 feet. And you may think that's too big, but this is what's being proposed right now. The applicant is also proposing a 6-foot-high fence and screening with arborvitaes. Screening with arborvitaes, trees. Arborvitaes, which are a type of tree. And is this going to be on the property line between these two properties?
Yes.
Okay. So the intention is between the fence and the arborvitaes and the reduction of the size of the pool, that your concerns hopefully are being addressed. That's what the applicant is trying to do.
The
Okay?
size of the pool, because it's next to my deck, actually.
Okay. All right. The
Who is this lady here?
I own the house.
she's
You own the house?
yes, she's your neighbor. She's your neighbor.
My
and she's here.
goodness, I didn't know.
Have you ever
Can I add to this for a second, though? In reducing the
She
pool
doesn't
also.
see you on weekends?
Hold on, we can't have multiple conversations going on at the same time.
Okay.
So, all right.
So, also in reducing the pool and removing the shed will allow us to shift it even a little further off the property line, so it
Okay.
would be away from everybody else's property, it's pulling it in.
Right.
And also, it's gonna come in this way a little bit, and it's also gonna come in this way a little bit.
Yeah, so I forgot to tell you that he's removing a shed, and he's also moving the proposed stairs
To the north side.
to the north side of the property.
The north side.
Which
Yep.
is where her deck is. So this is the north side of the property. This is her
Yeah,
deck.
this is,
So
yeah,
the
this is my
stairs
deck.
would
See how
be
close
right
all
there,
this is?
which is not a good thing.
Crazy.
So then we could leave them in the back, and then they'll face your yard.
Well-
Then we'll put us over.
Moving the stairs, does that take away the 58%, 58 square feet, moving them?
The problem with moving the stairs, or not moving the stairs, leaving them where they are, is the rear yard lot coverage. We're trying to get the rear yard lot coverage to be below 25%.
Right.
And with the stairs being moved, it's now going to be roughly 23.4%, at least that's the estimate. If we leave the stairs where they are, then it's going to be over 25%.
Right.
That's what the concern
So
is.
when you move the stairs to the side yard, you're deducting that square footage, that 58%, 58 square feet.
I don't think they count. My understanding, and I could be wrong.
That's
so I'm
my
gonna have to check,
question.
that stairs don't count toward the coverage calculation.
Okay, let's find out.
I was
I was
told,
told by the surveyor that they did count.
Okay.
and
so
by the building department,
Okay.
part of the decking. I questioned it myself, but
Where is this, what is going to the shed? Where is the shed going?
Wait, let's do the stairs first.
One thing at a
Did
time.
what?
Let's do the stairs first.
One thing at a
Oh,
time.
okay.
Okay?
No, you don't have to wait for me on the stairs, it's gonna take a while.
Do you have a drawing
okay.
of what you propose?
well, I have the original survey. I'm subtracting and adding.
Keep it
what's
open,
on
we gotta
it.
see it, sir.
Or,
Yeah.
because I'd like to see where your stairs are proposed. Are they proposed outside the deck, north of the deck, or to the west of the deck?
It's north of the deck, and
Come
this
down
is the north
along,
side.
along the side.
It's gonna
This
come.
is the north side.
All right, please. This is the deck.
might be
It'll
a
be
better
hugging
picture.
it'll be hugging the house itself.
Okay.
And going down that way so that it's not, I'm not going up over here to encroach closer to the neighbor's property. It's just gonna come down that way.
So this is the
And
north side.
there will be some screening also over here because there will also be the pump for the pools, so that will be also blocked in to keep noise down also. I mean, we're trying to do everything we can to keep this as quiet as possible.
Okay. Well, my sense of it is that the neighbor isn't entirely happy. I know that you put a lot of effort into this. I don't know whether there could be communication. No more. Okay. Then pretty much, so we have a revised application before us, and pretty much the board has to decide whether to grant or deny the relief. Are you still opposed to the relief? Are you opposed to the
Well, I'm
application?
thinking this is the first time I see the change. And I
I
have to
am.
make up my mind right now.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Well,
Do you want the pool there?
yeah.
The what?
I
Do you
think
want
she's
the pool
coercing her
there?
into agreeing with her.
Well, do I have a choice?
Yes, well, they want to know what your feeling is.
Yeah, whether you're, because you said the pool was still too large, okay, at
Yes.
15 by 32. So it sounds to me like you still oppose the application.
Yes, I would like it to either take the shed out or put it further into their house, not towards my house.
They're taking the shed out.
Oh, you're talking about the
little
step
shed.
side.
Yes, they're taking.
I thought you were talking
Look.
about
Both.
the
Both, the steps and the shed.
Well, the steps
Let me
are
just
being
show her on a-
moved
show her on a survey.
to where her
Okay,
deck
so this
is.
is a survey of her property. Okay,
I
there's
know,
the shed.
I know.
Right.
That's going.
We need a revised survey.
Yeah, we're gonna
And
get
where
rid
is
of
the,
that.
where's the pool gonna be?
We're gonna move the
Yep,
pool
yep.
over this way, towards
Yep.
the garage a
Not
little.
working.
In a different direction, from here to here.
Okay, okay.
No, because it restricts what I.
Okay, so with this, unless there's any other questions or anyone else from the public, and I want to ask, is there anyone else from the public who would like to be heard? And there is, okay. All right, so if you want to come on up,
Well, she's coming up. I mean, I will get clarity from the building department because the section that they're asking for relief from for the lot coverage, talks about accessory buildings and/or structures. Certainly, the stairs are not buildings. They're not defined as buildings because they would need a roof, but they might be structures. So
Right,
I'll
right.
get clarity from the building department on whether or not the
Well,
stairs count.
I was told because they have to be structurally engineered to support, because they are second floor steps, they're not 3-foot steps,
Yep.
that they do become part of the structure itself.
Okay, well, I'll just confirm it.
right,
I mean, it's,
okay. All right. Ma'am, I don't know if you want to grab a chair or whether you want to go to the microphone. But we have to be able to hear you, so you have to be close to a microphone. Okay. So were you sworn in previously?
No.
Okay. If you can state your name and address.
My name is Gabrielle Weglin, 1 Tulip Avenue, Hampton Bays.
You should
Okay.
get to a microphone.
Yeah, we get you better.
Is that what
Yep,
you're
got
coming
it. Okay, and do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay.
Gabrielle, can you just spell your last name for me?
WEGLEIN.
Okay, and are you an adjacent property owner?
I am. My property, the backyard of my property runs the entire length of the Belmonte's property and a little more.
Okay.
I think if there's any complaints about noise in this area, it's from my house. We have a backyard pool. I have a large extended family who have tons of little children. There's nobody noisier than a toddler, except some high school kids. And the Belmontes, I never heard any noise from them this summer. But I have to say their children are polite, very friendly children. The Belmontes keep their property in pristine condition. That's pretty much all I had to say, just that I have no opposition. I truly never heard any noise from them. I have a pool. The people who are in my pool are pretty noisy kids.
Okay.
So that's might be where the noise is coming from, my house. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Just a few things that I wanted to say.
Hold on a second. Is there anyone else? Okay, all right. No one else wants to be heard? Connection with this is the application of Belmonte? Okay, all right, you were going to say?
I'm in the rear yard, and I was wondering if we could submit these pictures.
You
I
can
think you had
absolutely
said-
submit them to our attorney.
Okay, so these are the pictures from Miss Norris's side, and these are from my side. And again, my concern, even though you're taking down the shed, and again, the stairs would be right in her face. So even if you take the shed down, that's about 100 square feet, you're still about 300 square feet over. So that's
And
like.
you have to address your comments to us.
That's like that's like 3 sheds right there. My concern is that the pool is too big, the lot is too small.
I'd
And-
like to say something.
Wait 1 second,
One
sweetie.
person at a time.
And I
okay?
appreciate the screening and the privacy. I have tried to do that as well. My concern is the noise. And a 6-foot fence and even screening is not going to prevent the noise of a pool.
What size pool would be acceptable?
I don't know. I don't know sizes of pools. But there are young children, and the Belmontes, are very nice, but they do.
Yes,
it's a
they're very nice people.
It's a summer house. They entertain.
I have something against the house, which is a crazy, crazy house. I'm there 50 years. 50 years. And that house has been for sale 3 times in that time. And loads of people came out from New York looking at it every time it went for sale. Everybody said, this house is in bad taste. It's an an aberration. This house is an aberration. Nobody liked it. And
I love it, actually. I love it.
Okay.
You better.
Pass.
You bought it.
I do, I love it.
It's crazy. I mean, all those steps and the high, what do you call it, decks, and everything is just out of the norm era. It's not a normal house.
Okay, so I think we've covered it all fairly well, okay? We have a revised application in front of us.
We asked the applicant, we told the applicant, lent him some direction.
Yep.
And he more than satisfied what we asked, between the pool size. I mean, I haven't seen a 15 by 32 in a long time. And he's got to drop down the coverage by almost 10% if the numbers are right. And willing to put a 6-foot fence up there with the 6-foot arborvitaes, you know what I mean? They're gonna get rid of the sheds. I don't know what else we can ask for. Unfortunately, don't read me the wrong way, I don't think you guys would ever be happy to be honest with you.
I'm concerned personally with the noise. I would like to enjoy my property.
Wegman family's been noisy for years.
I just say something?
Pools are noisy. They are.
But I got shushed by you at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, that's not.
Okay.
That's not.
Okay, but I
Okay.
did.
All right. So we have, okay, so we have written submissions, so we're going to need, well, I guess we're going to need revised survey.
Planting on the survey?
Yep, planting on the survey. I think we've gone over in detail everything that we would need to have. How long do you think it's going to take to get the revised survey?
This week.
Okay.
Will the fence and the bushes be on that survey?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna need them because I need the fence for the building permit for the pool and whatever else we.
Right.
So
okay.
this is a done deal?
Well, it's not a done deal until we vote, okay? But we're closing the public hearing tonight.
Okay.
That's what we're doing.
Will we be notified of the decision?
The decision's going to be, you can always call our Secretary Candace, who will certainly let you know what the outcome was the day after our next meeting. Our next meeting is April 18th, so you can call her on Friday, April 19th, and she'll let you know.
So you're going to make a decision on the 18th?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Just one more thing. I bought my house a couple of years ago, and I would not have bought the house if there was a pool there. So, again, I just
Yeah,
think
pools are common, pools are common amenities.
I understand
They are.
that, but
They
you
are.
really need to have enough space for it.
Well, I understand that you're not happy, okay? We have tried to address your concerns, and the applicant has significantly revised the application. And that's what I can tell you. And, that we asked the applicant to do that because of your testimony, because of what you've told us. So it's a smaller pool, there's screening, that's what's being proposed. I do not know what the outcome is going to be, but that's where we are as of tonight.
Well,
Okay.
the size of the pool is most important to me.
Okay, well, we're closing the public hearing tonight. Okay, all right.
This has not been voted on yet, so once they submit the new survey with all of this in there, we will look at it, then we will have a vote.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, so I have the lead on the application. I would move that we close the application of Belmont except for written submissions as discussed, a revised survey, and I will have a decision ready at our next meeting, which is April 18th.
Second.
Mr. Hahn?
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess?
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa?
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
I have a determination in the matter of James and Patricia Conforti. The applicant is seeking relief from Town Code Section 33011 for a proposed two-story dwelling with covered porch, principal front yard setback of 31.6 feet where 40 is required, and a principal total side yard setback of 31.6 where 35 is required, and total lot coverage 20.6 where a maximum of 20 is permitted. Premises located at 102 Lake Drive in North Sea, Suffolk County Tax Map 900-28-1-30. The lot's approximately 8,535 square feet. R15 zoning district, type 2 pursuant to SECRA. It again was a minor variance, no opposition, meets the 5-part test. Therefore, for the reasons set forth herein, this board grants relief from Town Code 33011. Residential districts table of dimensional regulations, a principal front yard setback of 31.6 feet where 40 feet is required, a principal total side yard setback of 31.6 where 35 is required, and a total lot coverage of 20.6% where a maximum of 20% is permitted, for a proposed two-story dwelling with covered porches as shown on a survey by John Borilski, land surveying dated May 7, 2018, last revised January 28th of 2019, and the architectural plans prepared by Allison Ramsey, dated February 7th, 2019. Granted, the foregoing relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval.
Do we have, okay. Mr. DeSessa?
Aye.
Mr. Hahn?
Aye.
Ms. Burgess?
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill?
Aye.
Mr. Daly?
Aye.
Mr. Kelly?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
A determination in the matter of James Dixon and Stella Strong, property at 28 Whitfield Road, North Sea, tax map 900-99-3, lot 20.001. I'm going to read the requested relief at the end. 25,128 square foot lot located in the CR80 zoning district, non-conforming. Andrew Strong, attorneys for the applicants. testified that they are seeking to construct an approximately 1,100 square foot addition to the existing dwelling, along with adding a patio and a pool in the driveway. The current home is approximately 1,200 square feet. This will enable the owners to add a third bedroom, where two presently exist. The property fronts two roads, Whitfield Road and Barrel Hill Road, but Barrel Hill Road is an unpaved paper road. Board is, we received a letter from David Lopez, the adjacent property owner to the north. In the letter, Mr. Lopez stated that the application appears to be reasonable and that he and his wife support it, meets the five-part test, therefore, and for the reasons set forth herein, this board grants relief from Town Code 330-115C, continuance for a principal front yard setback of 37.4 feet, where 41.1 feet is existing, Parallel Road, and Town Code 330-115, residential districts, table of dimensional regulations for a principal minimum side yard setback of 28.9 feet, where 30 feet is required, all for a proposed addition to the existing dwelling, as well as relief from Town Code 330-76B, placement of accessory buildings, structures, and uses in all districts, and 330-83C yards to allow the proposed patio to be located within the required minimum side yard of the principal dwelling, all for structures as shown on the survey prepared by Gary Benz, LS, last dated February 4, 2019, which shows the existing structures and proposed improvements, and the architectural renderings made by Jason Thomas, architect, dated January 19, 2018. The granting of this relief is subject to the conditions of such other permits as the applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the structures of the subject premises.
Second.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Hahn. Aye. Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. I have a actually, do you want to go first,
Go ahead.
Mike?
Be my
Okay.
guest.
I have a determination in the matter of the application of Scrimshaw LLC. This is for 41 Scrimshaw Drive in Southampton, tax map number 921, 1.56. I will read the relief in the end, but it is relief for a proposed shed, an as-built deck, and an error on a survey when they got the CO for the house, to correct a 1 foot difference in terms of the measurement. So, it is,
Scribner's error on Scrimshaw Drive. How about that?
apparently, yeah, type 2 pursuant to SECRA, that we have a CO for one-family dwelling with deck and two-car garage under house. Property is non-conforming as to size and is part of the Whalebone Landing subdivision. At the public hearing, testimony by William Leeds, architect, agent for the applicant, consistent of explanation, the applicant is seeking to legalize the location of an as-built deck, obtain all required approvals for a proposed shed, and lastly, to obtain an approval from this board to address an incorrect measurement when the CO was issued for the existing residence. He indicated that the applicant is proposing a shed, and their residence and deck already exist, will have minimal impact on adjacent properties, and will be heavily screened from adjacent properties. The deck has existed at its present location since the residence was constructed, for which a CO was issued on May 7, 1980. The relief is being requested due to the fact that the property is a corner lot with two front yards, thus having the structures with conforming setbacks is not practical. No opposition, passes the five-part test. Therefore, this board grants relief from zoning code 330-11, residential districts table of dimensional regulations for an accessory side yard setback of 10.1 feet where 20 feet is required, and relief from 330-76D and 330-83C, placement of accessory buildings and yards to allow a proposed shed to be located within the required minimum side yard of the principal building. This board grants applicant relief from zoning code 330-11 for accessory side yard setback of 15.3 feet where 20 feet is required, relief from zoning code 330-76D and 83C yards and placement of accessory buildings, all to allow an as-built deck constructed without a building permit to remain within the required minimum side yard of the principal building. This, in fact, really, when I say without a building permit, it was constructed pursuant to a CO that didn't list it. This board lastly grants applicant relief from zoning code 330-11, side yard setback of 19 feet from the required 20 feet, really to maintain the existing residence and to correct an error having to do with the survey that was submitted when they got the CO showing 20 feet when in fact it should have been 19 feet. The as-built deck, residence, and proposed shed will have the dimensional requirements and location as shown on the survey of Michael Hemmer, surveyor, dated June 29, 2014, last revised December 19, 2018. The survey with photographs and rendered shed dated March 21st, 2019. The existing conditions of work done, work done and exterior conditions with interior work, basement elevations and survey dated December 14th, 2018. They did all these different submissions with measurements on them. And last revised January 3rd, 2019, pages 1 and 2. Elevations and views dated December 3rd, 2018, last revised January 3rd, 2019. And general notes, riser and plot plan, demolition and construction plan, and elevator shaft section and footing details dated July 20th, 2018, last revised January 3rd, 2019, pages 1, 2, and 3, by William Leeds Architect, who's also the agent for the applicant, which was submitted with the application and incorporated herein, and any other conditions or permits that the applicant requires or otherwise may be necessary for final approval of the as-built deck and existing residence as they presently exist in the proposed shed to be built at the subject property.
Second.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Hahn.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill.
Aye.
Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Chair votes aye.
I have a determination in the matter of Peter and Karen Gruenberg, 109 Cold Spring Point Road, Southampton, New York, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900, 155, 128. Applicant requests relief from Town Code for pyramid height for a proposed encroachment in the amount of 3227.95 cubic feet, 2161 cubic feet on the west side, and 1,066 on the east side for a proposed two-story dwelling. This is determined to be a Type 2 action under SECRA. There was no opposition to this application, and this board finds that the granting of the variances will not cause an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or create a detriment to nearby properties. The premise is undersized and narrow, and the proposal is consistent with the character of the neighborhood. Therefore, this board grants relief from Town Code 330-84D pyramid height for a proposed encroachment in the amount of 3227.95 cubic feet for a proposed two-story dwelling as shown on the survey prepared by Martin Donald Hand, Hands-On Surveying, dated January 23rd, 2018, last revised January 18th, 2019. The pyramid drawing prepared by Christopher A. Hull of CAH Architecture, and the plans prepared by PBS, Inc., last revised October 30th, 2018. The grant of the foregoing relief is subject to such other conditions and permits as applicant has already acquired or may otherwise have to acquire for final approval of the subject premises.
Second. Mr. Daly.
Aye.
Mr. Hahn.
Aye.
Mr. Kelly.
Aye.
Mr. DeSessa.
Aye.
Mr. Tudhill. Ms. Burgess.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.